Where's the camera? Right there.
I don't know. I always look at the wrong dot, but I'm not gonna worry too much about it. Yeah.
Camera's right there.
Right. But it's not as like personal as just like looking and feeling the company of our friends here, meaning you and me.
Hi, friend. Hello, Facebook friend. Don't poke me. Don't do it.
I haven't. Oh, you know what? I actually did get a poke. It happens rarely, but when it does, it's like, huh?
What is that?
That still exists.
What does that mean? You
Yeah.
just poked me?
Yeah.
What was that about?
I don't know. For
Wow.
people that don't feel quite confident enough to reach out and say hello, maybe.
Yeah. Well, aloha, namaste. Welcome to this now moment with Heather and I. It's been a long time, love, since we've gone live.
Yeah, it has.
Super nerve-wracking, to be honest with you. I just haven't been live in a while, to be honest with you. During this whole time, I've just been really quiet,
It's been good.
you know.
Yeah. Just inward.
But we had a request by a dear brother of ours to come out and pray. And we've had that request come out a few times to offer our hearts. You know, Heather and I are very active behind the scenes locally where we are in gathering community and bringing song and prayer and meditation in this time. So we thank you for taking a moment to be here with us. And yeah, just there's no real agenda except to bring the power of prayer through song and spoken word.
Yeah. You know, for us, prayer is really what has gotten us through time and time again. When things don't seem like there's an answer or a solution in plain sight anyways, prayer gets us through. And I think more than anything, it brings us back to that place where we recognize that something bigger than us is happening. And sometimes that's exactly the medicine that we need to calm our hearts, you know, the peace that when two or more gather in agreement and are able to recognize that there is a perfection in all of the ways that things unfold, even especially, not even when, but especially when they don't make sense to our logical mind. Yeah. Good medicine.
Yeah, well, so we're gonna, we may do this once in a while, often. If you have a prayer request that you have in your heart, we invite you to place it here in the comment. You know, I spent a good time, I just got a text from Eric Stephen Rankin, host of Awakening Code Radio. That's a good sign of the 1111. You're in the right spot. You know, I spent a good chunk of my life, I mean, even before I became a practitioner of religious science, prayer was my first language. It was like, you know, when I was in the traditional Christian church, I would just invite young men that, you know, that I was mentoring or discipling, come pray with me. Come to the mountaintop. It's funny, I'm wearing actually, it's a David shirt by a dear friend of ours, Alan Rubin, King David.
Hi, Ava.
And King David is a hero of my heart. In the book of Psalms, you know, I would just go to the mountains and shout these prayers of King David. Just do that sometime. Just open up the Bible, like Psalm 116 is a great one. Just, you know, shout them. Find a place in the mountains and just open up the Psalms and shout them, because they're songs, but they're the utterances or the groans of a man after God's own heart, that he would pray in the times of, you know, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear, no evil, you know, just we're walking through a time. And one of our dear luminaries, mystics on the path, he's a teacher of the Aramaic language, and not Dale Allen Hoffman.
Oh.
Love Dale. Love you, Dale, if you see this. And if you love Dale Allen Hoffman, we're actually going to be doing something with him coming up September 22nd. We've been doing this Ascension 2022 in this year that he's been part of it with Bob and Shannon Sima and Charlotte. So more about that later. But Lars Muhl, he's out in the Great North. I think he's from Switzerland, right?
Holland.
Well,
Speaking of.
and he had said early on in this time that we've been going through this health crisis on the planet, he said people have turned away from God. And as a collective, we've turned away from God. And maybe that word God is hard for you to digest, but it's time for us to turn our face to God and pray in a way that makes sense for you. We're not here to pray in a way. There's no right or wrong way to pray. Just commit to communing with the beloved. Court the beloved in heart, in song, in dance, in quiet. And Ernest Holmes, one of my teachers, said, through the art of affirmative prayer, the limitless resources of the Spirit are at our command. The power of the infinite is at our disposal. And so it's our intention to come to you today, to come with you today. And we see you, Ava, in your prayer requests. We'll definitely hold that in. And if you have any prayer requests, place them in there. And if you see this later from our live, place them in. I've been getting a lot of prayer requests that have been coming in. And so it is time to pray.
Yeah. I love and we talk about this verse a lot in our life. And I think right now, we're in the process of looking at our own lives and taking the inventory that we need to bring those things that have been out of alignment into alignment. Whether that means that we have forgotten the nature of who we truly are. But it just says that to Habakkuk, it says, if my people who are called by my name, which is love, will humble themselves and turn from their wicked ways and pray, I will hear them and I will heal their land. And I think that's really where we are right now. We know that what is needed is a revival of each heart. This is something that we can't do with government. We can't, yes, we can have an impact as we move out into the world, but for us to be so clear in our own life of what needs to go, what is holding me back from really, when my prayers go out, to have that alignment, be so solid that I know that when I ask, it's done. When I know that there's nothing in between that prayer and my truth.
And we're each doing our best at that.
We are. Every single moment we do the best when we keep letting
What's
go
it,
and
prayer,
knowing.
The prayer, the offering of the woman with the very little, what is it?
The widow's mite.
The widow's mite.
Yep.
All she had was a little.
That's right.
And she offered it with all her heart.
That's right.
And some may have a lot.
That's right.
But each of us have what we have. But if we offer our prayers and our heart's devotion, just a little bit of willingness, the Course in Miracles talks about, we turn our face from the problem to the solution, to the solutioner.
Yes. Yes.
Yes. To the cause behind everything. Yeah. We call it God, we call it Ra, we call it many names, Buddha, Krishna, Shiva. Awesome is what it is. And so my beloved's got her guitar, so I'm assuming she's going to sing a song.
You guys are going to sing it with us, right? It's so
Me too?
simple. Yeah, you've got to sing it too. Let me sing it, and then we'll sing it together. But this is how we fight our battles. We don't need to contend with or trying to rearrange everything that's happening out here. What we do is we come and we bow down before that presence inside of us. Know that that's where the solutions are. They already are there. So this is how we fight our battles. And it may look like we're surrounded by things that don't make sense, but we are surrounded by the all that is. There isn't anything else. And for us to remember this, miracles happen, right? This is how I fight my battles. 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 Here we go. Fight my battles.
This is how I fight my battles. This is how I fight my battles. This is how I fight my battles. It may look like I'm surrounded, but I'm surrounded by you. It may look like I'm surrounded, but I'm surrounded by you. Oh, it may look like I'm surrounded, but I'm surrounded by you. It
is how I fight my battles. This is how I fight my battles. This is how I fight my battles. It may look like I'm surrounded, but I'm surrounded by you. It may look like I'm surrounded, but I'm surrounded by you.
How very auspicious that I'm wearing the shirt I'm wearing right now. Like I said earlier, if you haven't, this is a shirt designed by a dear friend of ours, and it's King David. And King David had that very mindset when he faced Goliath. It may look like we're surrounded,
Yep.
but I know who I am. I know who we be, and I can move through this without being fully equipped, without having to know everything, having the armor and all. Like, he just took 3 stones and went and faced the battle.
He did. He knew
Because
who
he
he was.
knew whose God was.
Exactly.
He knew
Yeah.
who he was and whose he's was.
Whose he's was. Whose he's was is
Whose he's was.
who he belonged to. Yes.
And so, you know, this is a prayer request that came out by our dear friend Warren Little, and we just want to thank you, brother, for all that you're holding down. And, you know, we do our best to navigate. We don't bury our head in the sand, but we know the truth, that there is a plan in this time. God's plan is being fulfilled on earth as it is in heaven. And though it may look like we're surrounded, though it might look like there's obstacles around the path, there is a power greater than that dwells within our very breath, that is surrounding us, that is informing us, that is guiding us, that is protecting us, that is providing us everything that we require and desire. So as I speak this affirmatively, this is an affirmative prayer, family, to know the truth, to know that there is a power for good in the universe. Know that with us. Know that there is a power that is more powerful than man's plan. And we're holding that to be the truth. We realize with the real eye that is the truth of our life. And so that which we are imagining for our life, the freedom to be at peace, the freedom to be prosperous, the freedom to be healthy, the freedom to be connected to community, the freedom to feel safe and secure right where you are. Because right where you are, God is. Goddess is. The power of all that is right where you are, right where I am, right where we are. And we can rest in that. We can sit in that fulcrum point of sovereignty, knowing that I am that. And so in these days, in this day, whatever it is you're requiring, and we speak for our dear sister Ava, here and now as a collective, we hold our dear sister, knowing that her perfect and graceful home, where she can rest her head and rest her mind and be in safety, is making its way to her. And that all that is required of her to support that is resource to her in all of that. That's her good, and we claim that good for Ava here and now.
And on that, I just stand and hold that vision that as this home is illuminated for you, that all of the desires of your heart that are implanted come out effortlessly as you just continue to remember and you take off the garments that are heavy and know that you are so worthy. Each one of you, each one of us is so worthy of receiving that which brings us joy, that which brings us security in the midst of whatever chaos is around us.
And we know that Ava is just a reflection of the we that we are. So as Heather just said, we speak this not just for Ava, but all the Avas, quote unquote, that are requiring a home. And we know quite a few as we get our requests daily of people who need
Yeah.
And we hear you. And though we may not have been live a lot, but we hear this. And so this is a continuous stream of prayer. And one of the things that we know that is going to get us through, I got a song in my head. Whatever gets you through the night, all right, all right. And that's love. Love is going to get us through the dark night. And I don't know how long the dark night is. We're not here to talk about how long and what's going on, what problems need to be exposed, what truth needs to be exposed. You know, I think a lot of us are on the verge of exposing all this truth. And that can bring fear to others, and we have to not be a stumbling block to others. So I know early on in this COVID season, I've been a little bit more vocal about things, and I pulled back intentionally to help co-create a world that really works for everybody, that we want to create together. And there's something beautiful happening on the planet. Know that, trust that even in the midst, you know, of the soil, underneath the roots are birthing something beautiful.
I think one thing that continues to come up from the different requests and people that are in our life is that place where we are so confident in the power that's operating through us, that there's no contender, that love has landed so fully in our, not only our consciousness, but has made its way, is making its way through the cells in our body, that every cell remembers the power of love. You know, a lot of times we imagine love to be some of these softer qualities, but that it would be that lightning love that would move obstacles, kind of like just the remover of obstacles. We were just on a call and we were talking about seeing the obstacles as the opportunity, literally, to understand how powerful we are. That there is no opposite to that power, that when we recognize that that is the only truth of who we are, our problems begin to shrink, because there are no problems in God's mind. There are only opportunities to understand to a greater degree who and what we are, and to demonstrate that power of Christ in our life.
Mic drop. This is the crowning moment.
Yeah.
This is the crowning moment on planet Earth. The corona. The time to rise into our true divinity. You know, our journey has taken us. This is why we've been quiet. We've been integrating. We've been assimilating, embodying all the things that we've been talking about for so long, and going to our book studies and going to our churches and our temples and our mosques and all the things that we've been going to. And now it's time to put it into practice. Now it's time to really be embodied in that God, Goddess presence that you know that you are. You know, Emmett Fox wrote a really cool little book. It's a beautiful little tiny book. It's a little yellow book. It's called The Golden Key. And it's a very simple solution. And what Heather just said, these obstacles, these problems, these challenges, these crises of faith that we're facing on the planet are opportunities for us to recognize and realize how big our God is, how big and how powerful our God is. And though we are a fraction of that, we are a microcosm of the macrocosmic force and power that is what we call God. But we are so powerful as a collective that when we take our mind, and watch what your mind is saying yes to, family. Your mind is being colonized by what you're allowing to be programmed on either end of the spectrum. And we have to take charge and have a sovereign mind that questions everything that's being programmed and weigh it to the truth which you know inside your soul.
I'm so glad you said that, because right before that I was thinking of be transformed by the renewing of your mind. I mean, this is really a deprogramming, as we all know. You know, these ways that we've bought into of seeing ourselves, and even just so much so as to the ones who have held the spiritual authority up until now, up until recently, that there is something, there has been enough truth in it that it has kept us with a seeking heart after the goodness of God. Yet there is so much more, and it's a really interesting paradox and balance to recognize, like Jason just said, that we are, I am that I am. You are that very presence of the living God. And it is activated when we humble ourselves and pray and we ask and we know that we are not double-minded in our request. There's not a separate I. And I think that's where a lot of us are just kind of making that final dissolution to recognizing that nothing in our life has been out of place. There's nothing in the world that is out of place. That this is a perfect process that's having all of us awaken to the full transformation in who and what we are. I'm so grateful. So grateful.
Breathe, 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 breathe. We're birthing anew. And just as the mother, as she's birthing, needs to breathe deep breaths, we just invite you to rest your heart and rest your mind and know that in this now moment you are surrounded by a powerful force of love that whispers to you in your quiet mind, that whispers to you in your dream time, those liminal states where that monkey mind is just a little quiet. And when we get quiet and we rest in this now, we understand and we be grateful for our breath, grateful for our sight, grateful for what we have in this now, knowing that we are fully supported. There is no lack and limitation in the mind of God. That is a lie straight from hell. There is no lack in reality. There is an abundance of all that we require and desire for our best life. And so I invite all those that are listening to open their heart and mind to this truth. And it is done as you choose to believe. I know it's the truth. I know there's no shortage. So any fears of shortage of anything is a lie. Because when we share collectively, we have enough. And so I speak this calming, serene truth to all voices, to all ears, to all hearts that can hear. To know that you're held. You know, as I spent 10 days in the hospital, I got to meet this powerful force in such a way to know that I'm held by something greater than I can even know. And it is my commitment, it is our commitment to constantly commune with this presence, to court it, to speak love to it, to sing to it, to dance to it, to walk in nature and observe it behind all of it. We thank you, God, for your love. We thank you for your divine plan. The orchestration of how far we are away from the sun, how things are moving in our body that we have no control of. There is something happening on our planet and in our bodies and in the body of everything that is bigger than what we can do, that we need to even concern ourselves with. There's something good happening today. There's something good happening tomorrow. There's something good happening 5 years from now. There's something incredible moving through this great transformation of the caterpillar to the butterfly. And so we let go. We let go of what no longer serves us. And we allow the good, the God, the good presence to come through us, through our eyes, through our mouth, through our hands, through our service. And whatever that is we're called to do, may we give from the overflow. May we speak from the overflow. May we see from the overflow. I trust in you, God, within and around. I thank you for the lights in the hearts that may not be seen, may not be live, may not be known, but we know that they're shining in their hearts and their homes in the midst of this dark night. And may this planet be lit by the stars in their homes in this dark night. Take a breath. And know this is the truth. I know that what we've spoken is not to convert anybody to any ideology, any religion. The language we speak is love. I'm Jason Michael. This is Heather Grace. We're the Powers of Love. And we are grateful to be here with you now, in the now that you choose to be here with us. Just now.
I am safe. I am loved. I am here. And my heart is open. I am safe. I am loved. I am here. And my heart is open.
Sing with us, yeah?
I am safe. I am loved. I am here. And my heart is open. Open. I am safe. I am loved. I am here. And my heart is open. And my heart is open. And my heart is open. I am safe.
You are safe.
I am loved.
So loved.
I am here.
Here and now.
And my heart is open. You are safe. You are loved. You are here. And your heart can open. And your heart can open.
Keep your heart open.
We love you.
Stay curious. Keep that heart open and be compassionate towards the others who are struggling, maybe a little different than you are. But no matter what end of the spectrum you're seeing this, we've all had loss. We've all had trauma. And we're all moving through something. So reach out if you need some prayer. And I will say, on just a little side note, those two songs, you can join Heather in a Sing Your Soul Awake rendition that's coming, and she's going to be talking about that, posting about that. I want to just plug that with you.
Oh, thank you, baby.
It's going to be powerful for women, about the 7 archetypes of the feminine, and
Integrating the embodied solar feminine. That means just making peace with and really integrating not only our feminine qualities, but the masculine qualities that are innate in our body. You know, we talk about the chakra system, and we've got 3 feminine chakras, and we have 3 masculine chakras, and then we have spirit that is just pure connection, and working at really allowing those to come into harmony does something different than just understanding just our own body, but it electrifies us. We're both electric and plugged into the magnetics of our own nature.
sounds like a superpower, kind of cool. You're accessing your super cape, and
Yeah.
so tune into that. But thank you so much. And if you found this to be helpful, share it with somebody.
Love you, Ava.
All right, love you all. Bye-bye.